What strikes me most in Matthew 14:24-31 is the use of the word immediately. The first immediately is unspoken but clearly evident. The disciples were out on a turbulent sea in the middle of the night. Jesus knew that they were having trouble, so he came to them immediately. When the disciples saw Jesus, their fear of the storm turned into terror that they were seeing a ghost, because Jesus was walking on the water toward them. However, Jesus immediately sought to encourage and calm them. Then Peter takes the courageous step to come to Jesus on the water and is able to walk on water himself. But a few moments later, Peter noticed the wind and the waves and started to sink. But Jesus immediately caught him and saved him. Like the disciples on that turbulent night, I too can be so focused on the storms around me that I have trouble recognizing that Jesus is also there with me. The roar of the wind and the brashness of the waves, i.e., the troubles of this life, seem to cover up the whispers of Jesus in my soul and mind. However, when I do listen for his whispers of grace, forgiveness, encouragement, and fortitude to continue on, I see my circumstances through eyes of hope. One more immediately is unspoken as well, but is very important. Peter gets the confirmation that it is indeed Jesus out there on the water, and immediately he gets out of the boat and proceeds to walk on water toward Jesus. Peter was immediately obedient. When I take my eyes off God and his truths, I am more prone to fear and insecurity, and therefore I am prone toward disobedience. Clips from the news can add to these fears. Destructive hurricanes, tornadoes, and earthquakes can happen at any time. Crimes against humanity also happen a lot. Financial worries can distract me as well. However, my typical fears come in the form of the rejection of people, or at least the perceived rejection of people. Sometimes this latter type of fear only happens in my mind, but can stop me from doing good things nonetheless. God may want me to help someone by speaking an encouraging word into his or her life, and I don't. Not because I don't want to, but because I'm afraid to. Worrying about what they will think of me becomes the dominant thought in my mind. I desire to keep my eyes focused on him at all times, but I cannot seem to resist being distracted by my insecurities. I am continually noticing the wind and the waves within me. They are like clanging gongs that cannot be ignored. Distractions, whether outward or inward, are inevitable and will continue to happen, but I do not have to let them paralyze me. This is why it is imperative that I listen more fervently for God's whispers and read his word in the Bible. Today, the Lord wants me to take courage by listening to him instead of my fears. He is with me just as he was with the disciples that night. When I get into trouble, and I will, he is there to protect me. Moreover, like Peter, I just might be able to defy the odds against me. With God, I can handle any circumstance, but I do have to keep my eyes on the Lord and keep trusting him. If I take my eyes off him, even for a moment, I may sink. When I look harder at the circumstances around me than I do at Jesus, I will doubt, and my fear will take over and overwhelm me. If that happens, I will sink, but the Lord will catch me. He may rebuke me afterwards about my lack of faith, but He will not let me fail completely. He will always be there for me. This is a lifelong learning process, so I will seek to avoid feelings of guilt or shame when failing becomes my reality. I will simply thank God for getting me out of trouble and then ask Him for another chance to try again. He is the God of second chances and new beginnings. The Lord is immediately there when I need Him, so in turn, my trust and obedience needs to be immediately there for Him. What area do you need to doubt less and keep your eyes on Jesus more? Share below in the comments what areas you have trouble having faith in. What areas cause you to doubt the most?